Today's episode, we're going to do a mock interview using AI in order to get you more comfortable with answering specific Agile and Scrum questions and situational behavioral questions in a way that you can do this at home. No one has to hear you. There shouldn't be any nerves. Stick with me. So as you can see, the key objectives of today's meeting is going to be to practice verbalizing Agile concepts and Scrum concepts smoothly and concisely in a very relaxed, calm manner. And the idea, I'm going to have a little clock up here so that you learn how to pace yourself and keep it into 30-second to 1-minute answers. For the situational questions, they might go as long as 2 minutes, but you need to be very aware of whether or not you're just blabbering on and on and on. You don't want to do that. All right, so what we're going to do is start with Scrum-specific questions. Section 1 will be Scrum-specific questions. I want you to practice by referencing the Scrum Guide. So make sure you've studied the Scrum Guide and you know how to say, well, the Scrum Guide suggests that you do this. But you want to reference the Scrum Guide or any of the books you've read, reliable, legitimate source materials. But you also then want to pivot to real specific experience that you have applying this concept to your team. If you're ever surprised by a question, you don't have any experience with it, don't try and fool the interviewer. Just admit, I'm not an expert on this. My thinking is this. And remember, that's what most of these questions are intended to find out how you think, not whether or not you have the right answer, not to know if you've got everything memorized out of the Scrum Guide, but do you understand the concepts? All right. So it's perfectly fine in an interview to be able to say, I haven't run into that before. So first of all, I would seek some guidance. I would ask some help. But my thinking is probably I would end up doing something like this. And then maybe ask, what do you think? If you run into that, what was the best solution you guys have had? Get them to talk again, right? See if you can reveal more about their thinking because it'll help you on future questions. If you ever get to a question you don't understand at all, don't answer it. Ask the question, could you please restate this and clarify that?
Please tell me what Scrum events you have facilitated and which is your best. What things do you do to keep retrospective meetings meaningful? What would you do if your team struggled with story sizing? Why do you think transparency is important for a Scrum team? Which of the Agile values do you think is most important, and why? What is important about a definition of ready and a definition of done? In what ways do Scrum Masters serve the product owners? Tell me about a time when you were able to help a product owner. How would you handle a conflict between team members?
Please tell me what servant leadership means and how you model it with your team. Why do Scrum teams use iterations? What is the purpose of inspect and adapt? What do you think is the best sprint length and why? What is the difference between a sprint review and a sprint retrospective? What is the difference between backlog refinement and sprint planning? Please explain to me what velocity is and how it is used. Have you ever measured team predictability? How did you do that, and why was it important? What do you think are the most important characteristics of a good Scrum Master? Please tell me about an agile topic you struggle with and what you've done to improve.
And in these situational behavioral questions, you have 1 minute to 2 minutes. It's a little bit longer than the Scrum and Agile specific questions. Let's go.
Tell me about an accomplishment you are very proud of, and how you helped your team overcome a difficulty. Please describe an improvement that you knew the team needed to make, but they did not know they should make. How did you get them to try the improvement? Let's say your Scrum team feels like there are too many meetings, and they want to eliminate at least one. How would you approach making a recommendation regarding the Scrum events? Please tell me about a time when you found problems with the backlog and steps you took to make improvements. Describe how you have used your team metrics to drive improvement conversations.
How would you handle being asked to make a change on your team that doesn't make sense to you? If an executive compared your team's velocity to another team, what do you think you should do? What would you do if you had an upset stakeholder call you with a complaint about the team? Your team has a member who is openly resistant to the Agile process. What strategies might you use to handle it? Last question. How would you handle a strong disagreement on the team about the right way to solve a problem?
Okay, so I hope that wasn't too difficult. I'm absolutely certain the first time you do that, it's not going to be real easy. The second and third times, it'll get easier. Just take it easy. Every time I want you to record yourself doing this, listen to it. I think it's a really good idea for you to write down on each time 3 to 5 things that you did well. And then give yourself one job to improve, one improvement to make. Go back and do it again and make that improvement. That might be, for example, eliminating like or up talking. You know what I'm talking about? So then I had a team and we had problems. You want to eliminate all of that kind of stuff. You want to work on making sure you have the content down. You want to make sure that you talk a little bit to Scrum theory, to Agile theory, to the principles and values, but you also want to relate it to specifics on your team. It may take you several practices. Now, the nice thing about this is you may be thinking, God, this is exhausting. But if you will do this now a few times and improve your techniques, it's something that will actually stay with you over time. And you'll find that you begin to improve your speech patterns, your ability to convey these concepts, not only in an interview, but when you're a Scrum Master to your teams. Practice explaining concepts out loud. Record yourself. Listen to your habits. Listen to your speech concept, your speech patterns, and really focus on making improvements. I am making one right now, as a matter of fact. I'm trying to learn to talk to the camera instead of watching my notes. So I'm constantly in a state of learning. You need to also hold yourself to a higher standard, record yourself, watch yourself, listen to yourself, and say, I can fix this. But this was good, that was good, and the other thing was really good. All right? Okay. If I can do it, you can do it. Get on it.